Hey everyone! Today's episode was recorded at the Scale Eastern European event, the first of its kind to be held in Bulgaria, and what a showcase it was for the industry in Sofia, Bulgaria in the last couple of days. So Damian and I talked all things conference. Separately, we've also recorded a series of interviews with the attendees, the notable SDR people, so you can go to our social channels to check those out. Enjoy today's show. Well, good morning, Damian.
Good morning, Leo.
Is it still morning?
No, actually, I think it might be afternoon. I think we've just gone afternoon. Yes.
Hi, guys. Welcome to Good Morning Hospitality Europe. You'll see we're not in our usual bunkers speaking to each other on video call, but we're actually live from Scale Eastern Europe, which is a lot of fun. How are you finding it, buddy?
It's always a bit surreal because these events, first-time events, are about a year and a half in the making. So to finally be here, having worked with Boris on this project from Flataway for a year and a half, it's kind of surreal, but it's amazing. And so we've got about 280 people here, and really pleased with how it's going. There's really high energy. You just commented on this a moment ago, right?
I think that when you go to a new market, and that's what you guys are great at doing, when you take on a new market and people haven't had a conference in their city before, there's real excitement. Well, not just their city, their region, right? I was just chatting to the lovely guys from Croatia, and I've chatted to some people from Serbia. So people are coming from all over this part of the world. But yeah, what amazes me is there's really smart business people all over. And what amazes me is how much they're here to soak up the education. Mm-hmm. And that's really cool. It's not just people lapping the vendor area and being like, oh my God, this is my 12th conference of the year.
Yeah.
It's people who are like asking really cool questions. There was a really good session on regulation. We might go into that later. And the questions were fantastic from people just being like, well, how does this affect my business? And I've got my view on regulation. Mm-hmm. And it was kind of cool to see how it's being done here. So yeah, very, very interesting. Damian and I were also lucky enough to interview the mayor of Sofia earlier, who's a tech guy. And he was telling us some interesting things about kind of how he feels about the industry. And this part of the world is definitely open to business when it comes to short-term rentals.
Well, certainly is. Yeah, absolutely. But and there's a real sense of pride. I don't know if you picked up on that in the sessions, and even speaking to people, they're really proud for Scale to be coming here, first of all, but also in their own economy, in their own tourism, and especially in the case of Bulgaria, the Bulgarians are a very proud nation, and Sofia is a great city, and I think they're very right to be. It's great.
It's got that lovely mix as well of urban, plus you look to your right and you see brilliant mountains. What a beautiful spot.
Incredible. Yeah, we should really know the name of those mountains.
It's just incredible mountains. Yeah. That's what I call them.
Yeah. Incredible mountains. Snow-capped. And we were actually very lucky because last week it was touching on -20 here.
Wow.
So it was incredibly cold, but I think it's about 11 or 12 degrees today. It's just very, very pleasant.
There you go. We've warmed the SDR caravan has come to town and we've warmed the place up. First time in Sofia for me. I love it. First time for you?
No, I've been several times actually. So I've been
travelled
Bulgaria a few times. So yeah, it's a great country, and people are very, very hospitable, very, very friendly.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, look, let's talk about the news. So we started with the first session I was watching was about regulation. I said this to Simon earlier. I feel that there might just be a backlash at some point against the European cities that are being so anti-tourist at the moment if tourists stop coming. And what I felt in the room today was that the regulation that's being suggested is quite sensible. It's about making sure that tax revenues can be collected and everything can be compliant and above board. I know neither of us are experts in the regulation in Bulgaria, but was that your sense as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the Ministry of Tourism, they seem to have that common sense. Which is something we do not see in many European countries, like blanket bans or restrictions or licensing that's forced upon companies, and sometimes those operators have to fold. So it really there's a sense of common sense, and it's great to see.
Yeah. I think where regulation starts, often trends can follow, or it can happen the other way around. But I think in this case, we're maybe seeing both those things happening concurrently. The idea that in Europe, people I'm speaking to, and there was a session led by Booking.com earlier talking about this, people are searching for how to have the least impact when they go on holiday, least climate impact. And we're really starting to see that play through into people's choices about where they're staying. So people are inhaling all of this news about over-tourism And maybe it's making them think, well, hold on a minute, let's go for a hike in the wilderness. Huge trends that I'm seeing. Do you agree with that?
Well, I agree because of what Booking.com presented. And that's the first really that I've heard and seen some data reported on this, how guests and travelers are looking for something a little bit different, like nocturnal stays, or the noctourism, as that was called.
The stargazing. I
Stargazing.
love you and me to go stargazing together.
That's another conversation. But look, I think it's it's great that we're aware of this. Look, as you know, I spend a lot of time in the south of Spain, and the Malaga and Andalusia region is very hot, very dry, and I've seen people leave the area to go live up north where it's wetter, because there's a real concern about the environmental change, and the guests are doing the same. They're going to cooler places. I mean, you'll always have a lot of, say, Brits, Irish, Scandinavians who will go to hot destinations, no matter what, like the south of Spain. But there is a pattern of traveller behaviour that is changing, and I think that's great. But we need to be aware of it.
Yeah, I agree with that. I've said it, I think, in earlier episodes this year of the pod. Is like my prediction is that those Northern European markets are going to have a really good year. And even for us in the UK, where we're deciding to go. You are able to look across Europe or north instead of always looking south. And I think that's going to be a trend. And I wonder what it means long term for the impact of tourism in those areas that are potentially becoming a bit too hot. Fascinating time for sure. And it stands to reason then that an area like this, like Eastern Europe, could do really well, especially as we're coming out of what's been a tough inflationary period, but we're not fully out of it yet. People, budget conscious travelers, why wouldn't you come here? It's such a wonderful part of the world, and you're going to pay far less than being in Ibiza or Menorca or somewhere like that.
For sure. I mean, I think those traditional areas that are destinations that many people go to, they're expensive. Forget about over tourism or any of those kind of issues. They are expensive, and people are looking for alternatives now. And yeah, I mean, things are a bargain here. They really are. It might change, but it's just wonderful to experience and not to be thinking that a trip like this is going to break the budget at all. So it's a great city.
I agree. And I've always said that our industry is recession proof. And I think that people don't really want to compromise on having to go away. Everyone wants a break. A couple of times a year, 3 times a year. I mean, Damian's always on holidays. You're a bad example. For 12 holidays a year.
I just book a conference in whenever I need to go somewhere.
Get away from the kids. Just have a great time. I get it. Amelia, if you're watching, sorry. But if they're having those holidays, they're not stopping having them. They're just looking at maybe having them in a more budget-conscious way.
Yes, absolutely.
We looked at the data. We started the year in Europe incredibly well. So January was a really good score. Economic forecasts are looking a bit brighter. What's your? Can I ask you, what do you think is going to happen this year with the industry? Can you see us keeping this momentum through the year and it being better than last year, or are you a bit more cautious? Simon was cautious when I put the question.
I'd be very cautious. I mean, we all know there was a huge spike both post-COVID for 18 months or so, and I think things have been a struggle for a lot of people. I think it's in the UK, the typical marketplace it's been difficult over the last while. You know, the weather's been rubbish over the last 100 years, but generally it's been very difficult. I know a lot of operators throughout the UK, especially, and in Spain, who've found things tough. So I would be very cautious about predicting anything for a start. But I think we're going to go through. I'm not sure if it's tough times, but I think we need to be careful and not just plan for the future in a conservative way.
Yeah, it's interesting. Let's talk about direct bookings if we may.
We may.
You'll be doing a session later, which I'm looking forward to. So without giving away actually you can give it away. It's coming out.
Give it all away, yeah.
Secret
Exactly.
sauce. Here we go. I'm seeing a shift in mentality now of property managers thinking about their businesses as hospitality brands, trying to think about their businesses as hospitality brands. So not just creating Instagram content, which is pictures of your property, but try and create the image of what your holiday could be like in this region. We could clearly all be doing much more, right? And leveraging things like YouTube and things like that to create content. But I think we're in a pretty good spot in Europe in terms of how people are working towards thinking about their own distribution. And it feels like it's potentially an idea that's come of age around the fact that AI is changing search. So give us an update. We haven't talked direct bookings in a while, but I know it's still it courses through your veins.
Look, yeah. So look, I've been running the Book Direct show for 5-6 years, and I would personally say that we've always had a leaning towards trying to get direct bookings and reducing that reliance on the big OTAs that we love. So I don't think there's been a significant shift in that mindset. However, I think perhaps as there's a lot of property managers and hosts out there who kind of are starting to realize actually it doesn't necessarily need to be that difficult. Getting a website, making sure you capture those emails. I'm giving away half of my talk here. Capturing email addresses, making sure you're visible, having a phone number available, little things like this that actually make it a lot easier to capture those direct bookings. Repeat bookings, obviously, are a big part of that. So whether there's been a change in the mindset, I'm not sure. I think it's always been there. The data would suggest that it's kind of plateaued in terms of the amount of direct bookings that there generally are generated. It's kind of seems to be between 20 and 25% is the average globally. So there's a lot of room for improvement. But I think we all need to be just have that kind of awareness that we can do things differently. We don't have to rely on one or two major OTAs out there. And
do you agree with me that AI is a potential opportunity there for that?
Jury's still out. Look, absolutely, there are ways to integrate AI into your direct booking strategies for content, for search results. 100%. How that's changed over the last year, I don't know. I think it's yet to see a significant spike in terms of direct bookings. But I'm not gonna lie, I don't have the data to back that up. So
we just want you for opinions. We don't ask you for logic. Opinions. Ask you for opinions. We know you won't do your homework. So just come and talk.
I'm not prepared for this at all. But yeah, it's exciting. It'll be interesting to see how many of the attendees check out my presentation today. We can report back on that. But look, I think the fact that we have these conversations, I think, is the main thing, and that property managers, hosts, just know that there are ways for them to expand their business. And it's not a case of shifting to, I'm going all in on direct bookings. Not at all. It's just diversifying your channels and just making your business a little bit more solid and sustainable.
Tell me, what else has caught your eye here to the couple of days you've been here, or what else interests you that you've watched?
Well, I only arrived in the night before last, very late. Yesterday, I was here prepping all day, so I can't say I've seen much of the city. But really, I think just seeing all the bums on seats today was a big thing, and seeing the engagement, seeing people just the excitement of having an event come to their region is a real. It means a lot to us as a Scale team, and long may it continue. We hope this is an annual event.
Yeah, and I think the data is suggesting, isn't it, that travellers are looking at. I mean, we focused on it a couple of weeks ago. Croatia, I think, is the most searched for destination at the moment, or Croatia's the number one for spring bookings, like Easter bookings. Croatia seems to be the place. So again, you've got travellers coming from Western Europe, from the UK over to this area, but also people in these markets travelling and using short-term rentals. So we're seeing huge growth there as well. Obviously, Bulgaria has the Black Sea, the Black Sea region, and it's just great to see that the potential monopoly of hotels is coming back into being there being some parity, and it seems with good regulation that can continue to be the case. So that's why I think there's an energy in the room, because when I talk to people, I won't name names, but some guys like growing his business from 0 to 120 properties in 5 years. Right, yeah. And it's really kind of like, it's more challenging to find those opportunities in the UK. You don't really hear that story so much anymore. It's people kind of getting to 10, 15, and then regulation making it hard to do. So it's really interesting. There's guys here growing businesses really quickly, and I think thriving.
And they have the support. I mean, we heard the mayor talking today about how he's excited by the short-term rental landscape in Bulgaria and throughout the whole region. And I think to hear your own city mayor say something like that, it kind of galvanizes the whole industry locally within that country and region. So that to me is really exciting. He couldn't say enough, could he, about the short-term rental market here?
Really refreshing, clearly refreshing. obviously we're here. It makes you have a look at what other software vendors are in the room as well. It seems to me at the moment we are in an interesting place software wise in the space. So like if we can talk a little bit about that, I'd be interested to get your view. So I think there's clearly a few very powerful PMSs at the moment that are really kind of that have put their foot down. There's a couple of front runners, but I'm still seeing a lot of people charging at their heels and creating PMS and creating software businesses. What's your sense of it? Because you obviously because people are applying to exhibit and you see who's got money or who's raising money. Like, well,
the PMS conversation is extraordinary. So the property management software, I don't know if you in the room where Richard was talking about PMSs this morning, and he counted I can't remember, it was a document or some research that he did, 650 odd property management softwares, and he knew of about 50 more on top of that. So there are probably, I would say, in reality, close to 1,000 PMSs out there, which is incredible. And I mean, starting and maintaining your own tech is a really tough gig. You know, I wouldn't do it for love nor money. But there's some really inspirational companies and operators out there who are still, they're seeing problems with the booking system or with guest communication or something. So we do have so many options out there available to us. But look, I'd still say we can't be too blinded by shiny objects. I think the important thing as PMs is to choose the right software that you need, and maybe not necessarily get too distracted by everything there is out there. Because we could bring on, we talk about tech stacks, and having say half a dozen different technologies to try to maintain those is really difficult. So it's exciting, but at the same time, I think every property manager has to be cautious and use what's right for them. But of course, use the ones who are exhibiting at a scale.
No, but I think there's an interesting debate to be had in there. I think that, so, we talk about the fact that there's a few PMSs that are really charging forward. And so from the outside looking, you go, well, you'd assume that means no one else is building software like that. But I don't think it's true. And I think also companies often end up starting to do one thing. They might do one or two features and then evolve into being a PMS because their clients are like, well, can't you just do it all for me? AI making that easier, right? Quicker to develop and shortcut that. I think what it goes back to is I'm getting to say the favorite phrase, hyperlocal. You get it in, I got it in. Sarah will be proud of me. Thanks, Sarah. It's this idea that actually it's so specific how you might manage your business based on the market that you're in. That there will always be the opportunity for local companies to pop up and really serve that use case. And people still want to work with people they trust or maybe speak their common language and all of that stuff. But again, I find it surprising because we are in a situation where we just have so much technology out there. Some of it just doing very, very, very specific things, some of it covering a broad spectrum, and seemingly popping up all the time. Because again, let's put it down to that hyperlocal thing, because you come somewhere like this and I'm mentioning brands to people that I'm talking to in the room and they've never heard of them. But they'll go, oh yeah, no, I work with the PMS in Croatia, I work with this, I work with that. And so there's this ecosystem that, you could, if you just go to the conferences in America and you just go to the ones in the UK, you could convince yourself that this is the entire market, but it's not. There's a massive ecosystem outside of that, isn't there?
There really is. And at our Dubai event, that was really prevalent, how there are certain PMSs that you possibly haven't heard of, but who dominate the landscape there. And other technologies maybe are limited in terms of whether they can legally operate as well. We take it for granted how, anything can be done. But in a lot of countries out there, it's just not possible. It can be illegal. So it is very different, but which is kind of exciting at the same time.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed it. It's been great. It's been a great fact-finding mission. If you'll invite me back, I'll come to another one. Just you invite me back.
You're in.
He said it. You heard that, guys. He said it. I can come back.
Talking to someone.
Damien, lovely to see you. What's your plan? Are you head down to more conferences, or are you taking a bit of time off?
I'd love to take time off, but no, we've got Scale España in Madrid in 2 weeks. We have Munich, DAC event in May. We've got Saudi event in Riyadh, also the end of May. And then we've got our Cape Town event in July. So no, it's head down for the next few months.
Good on you.
Then I might have my little my summer of sport, as you know, and enjoy August and have a little bit of time with the family. So.
Good on you. Well, it's been a success, hasn't it? I am just going to get back and do some family penance for the fact that I got a couple of days away. So our eldest was kind of up all last night, so I was getting the messages going, "Why have you gone away?" So,
You've only been for one night, cause bad timing.
My family weren't saying anything of the sort. So, but they've been away on holiday, so they've been quite happy.
they don't even notice when he goes away. All right. Thanks everyone for tuning in. If you've enjoyed the episode, please hit like, share, subscribe, and all the usual social places. Damian, I'll see you again very soon. Thanks for your time.
Thank
Cheers.
you.